China found evidence of a lost world on Mars. Beneath the dusty plains of a region called Utopia Planitia, a small silver rover named Zhurong uncovered the geological signatures of an ancient environment that changes everything we thought we knew about the red planet. For decades, the consensus was that Mars had been a dead, frozen desert for billions of years. But Zhurong's journey suggests that the history of water on this planet is far more complex, much more vibrant, and much more recent than anyone imagined. To understand the scale of this discovery, we have to look at the traditional timeline of Mars. In our school books, the story was simple. The prevailing theory held that the planet lost its magnetic field, then its atmosphere, and finally its liquid water roughly 3 billion years ago. Mars was viewed as a planetary fossil, a world that dried up long before complex life ever appeared on Earth. We thought we were looking at a finished story, but as it turns out, we were only reading the final chapter. The Tianwen-1 mission arrived to challenge that narrative, but before Zhurong could start rewriting history, it had to survive the most dangerous arrival in the solar system. Landing on Mars is a legendary challenge, often called the 7 minutes of terror. Because of the radio delay between Earth and Mars, the spacecraft must perform a complex series of maneuvers entirely on its own. It hits the atmosphere at thousands of kilometers per hour, using a heat shield to survive the extreme friction before deploying a massive parachute. Retro rockets then fire to allow the craft to hover and find a safe spot to land. China succeeded in this high-stakes gamble on its very first attempt, placing Zhurong in the heart of a vast, mysterious basin known as Utopia Planitia. Utopia Planitia is not just another crater. It is one of the largest impact basins in the entire solar system, a depression so vast that it could swallow several European countries. For years, scientists debated its origin. From orbit, the area looks relatively flat and featureless. Some researchers argued it was a giant field formed by ancient volcanic lava flows. Others pointed to the strange, scalloped depressions on the surface and whispered about the possibility of a massive, ancient body of water. Zhurong was sent there to settle this debate once and for all. But how do you find an ocean that has been missing for billions of years? You cannot just look at the surface. On Mars, the wind is a master of disguise, covering the entire planet in a fine reddish dust that hides the true geology beneath. To see the truth, China equipped Zhurong with a specialized ground-penetrating radar. This was the rover's primary superpower. While most rovers only see the dust and rocks on the surface, Zhurong could send radio pulses deep into the ground. Think of it as a sonogram for a planet. These pulses travel through the soil and bounce back when they hit different materials. By measuring the time it takes for these echoes to return, scientists can build a high-resolution map of what lies beneath the rover's wheels. It is a way of digging without ever moving a single grain of sand. As the rover trekked across the orange soil, covering nearly 2 kilometers, its radar began to reveal a world that had been hidden from view for eons. What the radar detected was a shock to the system. Instead of the uniform layers you would expect from volcanic lava, Zhurong found complex, stratified structures. It identified layers of underground sediment, including silt and gravel deposits that are typically formed by the long-term movement of liquid. These are not the sharp, jagged rocks created by volcanic eruptions. These are smoothed, sorted materials, the kind you find at the bottom of a lake or along the edge of a sea. The data suggests that these structural patterns were formed by a persistent, watery environment. The radar pulses revealed underground features that resemble ancient coastal structures, buried deep beneath the modern Martian dust. These findings suggest that Utopia Planitia was not a dry volcanic plain, but the site of a massive, ancient ocean that may have covered much of the Martian northern hemisphere. But the most incredible part of the story is not just that the water was there, but when it was there. This leads us to one of the most shocking revelations of the entire mission. While studying nearby sand dunes, Zhurong used its cameras and chemical sensors to look for clues of more recent activity. It found something that seemed impossible: cracks and crusts on the dunes formed by hydrated salts. On Earth, these minerals only appear when liquid water interacts with soil. But on Mars, the atmosphere is so thin and the temperatures are so low that liquid water should be impossible. Yet the data suggests these features were formed as recently as 400,000 years ago, which in the grand timeline of the universe is a heartbeat. While human ancestors were already roaming the Earth and discovering the secrets of fire, Mars may still have had active water interacting with its surface. This shifts the ultimate question of life on Mars from a distant, ancient possibilities to a central, modern focus. We have always asked if life once existed on Mars. Now we have to ask if the conditions for life persisted much longer than we ever dared to hope. On Earth, where there is water, there is life. If Mars maintained large bodies of water for hundreds of millions of years, or even smaller amounts in the recent past, the chances of a Martian ecosystem emerging are significantly higher. We are no longer just looking at a dry rock. We are looking at a world that once had the ingredients for a biological revolution. This discovery also forces us to rethink the death of Mars. If the planet was still hydrologically active just a few 100,000 years ago, where did all that water go? We know that the solar winds stripped away much of the atmosphere, but Zhurong's radar suggests that a significant amount of the water did not escape into space. Instead, it moved. The evidence suggests that as the planet cooled and the atmosphere thinned, the water retreated. It did not just evaporate, it sank. It likely remains trapped beneath the surface, hidden within the geological layers as massive deposits of ice or extremely salty brines. These underground reservoirs could be the key to future human exploration. If we can find the water, we can find the oxygen and fuel needed to sustain a colony. The story of Zhurong is also a story of human perseverance. The rover eventually entered a planned hibernation to survive the brutal Martian winter, a season where temperatures drop so low that even the carbon dioxide in the air can freeze. It was designed to wake up as the sun moved higher in the sky and the temperatures rose. But the Martian environment is unforgiving. A massive dust storm likely swept across Utopia Planitia, coating the rover's solar panels in a thick layer of fine silt. Without the ability to recharge its batteries, Zhurong remained silent. Today, the rover sits as a permanent monument in the northern plains. It is a small, silver explorer that traveled millions of kilometers to tell us that we were wrong about its home. Though the rover is still, the data it sent back continues to ripple through the scientific community. It has opened up a new chapter in planetary science, one where Mars is not a dead world, but a planet with a deep, hidden history that we are only beginning to understand. This discovery proves that our own planet is not the only world to have been shaped by the power of water. It reminds us that the solar system is a dynamic, changing place. As we plan future missions to bring Martian soil samples back to Earth and explore the icy moons of Jupiter and Saturn, we are searching for a deeper connection to the cosmos. We are searching for water, and in doing so, we are searching for the origins of life. The surface of Mars remains a place of mystery, cold and silent under a thin, pink sky. But thanks to a small rover and the scientists who built it, we now know that its silence hides a dynamic, watery past. Where we once saw only a desert, we now see the memory of an ancient sea. We see a world that was once alive with the sound of movement and the chemistry of water. Every time we look up at the red dot in the night sky, we are no longer looking at a graveyard. We are looking at a mirror of our own planet's past, and perhaps a glimpse into a future where we return to those ancient shores. If you want to join us as we continue to uncover the greatest mysteries of our solar system, make sure to explore the final frontier. For now, keep looking up, because the universe is always ready to tell us a new story.